is Monday, May 10th. Welcome everyone to Living Room Sports Talk. Cameron Carley, Zach Rothenberg. We've got the great Chad Catchup everyone with us. Look at this, guys. I feel like it's been a minute since we had the three amigos, roll along here. It's nice.
Yeah, it's good. Do you know today's National Golf Day?
It's also like National Clean. Is it really? I should have said that before I kept going, but
according to social media, I had to throw the random fact out to get the show started. So
dude, we should have been playing golf instead of doing this.
I haven't played in like 3 weeks. My itches are off the chains.
We never played together, Chad. I was thinking about that the other day. We gotta get out there and swing the clubs a little bit,
Yeah.
All three of us. I mean, Zach and I played already together.
A little sidetrack swing.
That'd be fun. A little sidetrack. We should do like a sidetrack scramble. That'd be fun.
There you go.
But before I get too sidetracked here, but we got a great show for everyone on this awesome May Monday. It's got a hell of a week coming up for the show. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I'm too giddy. We got to talk about how we got Myron Mixon coming on this week. This is going to be so exciting. This is. Woo! I mean, do we have? I'm trying to think. Was Kyle pre-draft last year? Because I was going to say something about the springtime. We're just getting those Grand Slam guests on. It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, I think he was like 2 or 3 shows before the draft. And then we had Driscoll, and then I think we had that mock draft. So probably 2 or 3 before.
Little mock draft. But that's gonna be awesome. So we're gonna talk to Myron tomorrow, and if anyone doesn't know who Myron Mixon is, first of all, I should, but if you don't, it's all right. We can help you out. He's the winningest person in barbecue ever. He's the Babe Ruth of barbecue, the salt and the sauce. I mean, I can't wait to break those out tomorrow for him. And then we'll air that interview on Thursday. But it's really cool. He's releasing his 3rd book, Keto Barbecue, which is really cool too because we're all trying to lose a little weight here. I mean, we want to eat some barbecue, but we don't want to burn our esophagus and. Want to keep the LBs down before the summertime starts. So Myron dropped a book called Keto Barbecue that releases tomorrow. And to that point, you guys, I'm actually going to camp out at Barnes & Noble at 9 a.m. and try to read as much of the book as I can before 6 o'clock and just cram. So we're going to see how that goes. But anyway, all right. But that'll be a big week. We'll kind of wrap it in. We got a great show for everyone today, though. A lot of NFL news. I mean, this will be cleaner. I mean, wait, Zach, it was you and me last Monday, right? I'm trying to think, because I feel like the last few shows it's either me and Chad or you and me.
Yeah.
So, Chad, can you believe I dropped an F-bomb during the show last Monday, but it had nothing to do with the actual Rodgers part? It was like, just talking about the Giants receivers. I was like, oh, yeah, you're stacked, dude.
Yeah,
I just stopped. I'm like, I don't know anymore. I just don't. But anyway, it's gonna be a cleaner show today, I promise, for our audience. And we have live chat tonight, which will be great.
I get where you're coming from, though, because when all that stuff was going on with Wentz, it was like my brain would be so specific in what I was saying about Wentz because I didn't want to, say anything terrible for, no reason just because I was upset. But then it's like the brain, forgets that there's that filter when you're talking about anything else, and you're just pissed off. So it comes out.
I was trying, it was bad. But I think it was like Darius Slayton, dude. It was bad. I was like, yeah, it was bad. But anyway, I just looked at Zach. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It's like that scene in The Office when Michael calls Stanley's lover. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Cynthia?" And he just puts his head down. All right, but let me clean this up here. Let's jump into a little clickbait. And real quick before we do that, just to tease the show, so we'll talk some football. Obviously, we have the live chat, so we'll get cooking with everyone's comments and stuff in the chat. It's Mojo Monday. What else we got? And then DK Metcalf is burning on the track this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about athletes that you'd like to see do another sport because they're that good at the sport they do, kind of a thing. And we'll also talk there's a little chat, first of all. We'll get to a deeper dive in this story in a second. But isn't it fitting how, we bet on a horse in the Kentucky Derby. They just run normally, and everyone's like, well, no, they didn't give enough room for the other horse to run. So disqualify. You lose all your money that you actually thought you won. And then this time there's a horse that has cough syrup in it. And that home, we're going to get into all that. Or, let me just stop. We'll get to that. This is too good just to bypass.
I thought the same thing because I was like, yeah, I never win that. And then
no. It's almost like the bank's already been robbed now at this point. It's like they found out who did it, but it's like, it's already passed. It doesn't matter. All right, but we'll get into all that fun stuff in the show. But let's get some clickbait cooking. Zach, I'll tell you, want to get started?
Yeah, let's do it. So basically, pretty much every day, as we all know, there's some new Aaron Rodgers fake news coming out or headline coming out, and apparently he's being traded at every possible team in the NFL.
The Eagles today.
He's already on the Eagles, according to a lot of people.
Yeah, so of course, our friends on ESPN, and you see Marcus Spears, which everything he says is pretty much clickbait to begin with. So,
it's horrible.
Yeah, so apparently there's 7 NFL teams and proposals that rank from least appealing to most attractive that would be really fitting, and some of the teams on there are just hilarious to me, And of course, naturally, you see stuff with the Eagles, you see stuff with the Giants too, and it's just like, okay, where else is he going? Dallas, Washington. I don't know. I'm just getting kind of tired of it. I don't even know how true this story is. I know you're a lot closer to it, Kieran, but I feel like it's all a bunch of.
Honestly, not. I mean, really, I'm a stranger. I'm a stranger to this, just like everyone else in the outside world. No, so you're right.
Clickbait or not, I am just hitting a new level with ESPN where I just can't take. Like, we grew up with such good anchors and shows with ESPN, and it's just outside of Scott Van Pelt, it's almost becoming irrelevant to me now. Like, so I'm sure you guys all saw the Mets get into a fight this weekend, right? Anyone?
I thought they were in harmony with the raccoon and the rat, and just winning.
There you go. That would be because ESPN has no idea how to report accurate news. So Jeff McNeil and Francisco Lindor get in a fight in the middle of a baseball game down in the tunnel, and like basically while it's going on, everybody knows like that's what's happening. And then after the game, Lindor ended up homering. They won, whatever. Everyone's smiling. So he says in the press conference, like, "Well, I just thought it was a raccoon," and McNeil was telling me, or I thought it was a rat, and McNeil was telling me it's a raccoon. I've never seen a rat before. Blah blah blah. And he's like saying it with a smile on his face. The manager of the Mets gets interviewed, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't confirm anything about a rat or a raccoon," and that's all he said. Like, he didn't say it was a fight, but he's like, "I can't tell you anything happened with a raccoon." And then just because Lindor said it, that's all ESPN's been saying now. Is like every time they're like, "Oh my goodness! Like, do you think this raccoon is saving the Mets season?" Like, there's no raccoon.
It's so bad.
It was so clearly obvious a fight that they tried to cover up, and it first time in history I've ever seen a team cover something like this up because ESPN just doesn't want to do their job.
Oh,
that was my rant to start the show.
No, I like it. You want to keep it going with your clickbait?
Yeah, sure. So my clickbait's kind of funny. I guess it's not really just specific to today, but Kieran's big into it. I know a lot of my other friends are big into it.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
And I never say it right. It's Doge, right?
Yeah, Doge.
Yeah, so Dogecoin. And the reason why it's my clickbait is I am not a big fan of individual people pumping money into things and then everybody else like thinking that it's legit. Like, I get it. Everyone's been having fun. Like, it went from like literally.
I'm not having a good time. Come on now, it's the people's coin, Chad. To the moon.
You're right, and I would have been happy if it stayed the people's coin. But now that we have Elon taking money out and dumping it back in whenever the hell he feels necessary, I think that's a little ridiculous.
Dude, I'll tell you this much. I don't know.
Like, this trip to the moon is absurd to me. He can just decide, my company wants to take this form of non-real money just because I want to profit off of it because I realize that this thing was under a cent and I've driven it up to 70. Like,
I got in a cent. That's what I'm telling you.
But that seems illegal to me. Like, how does this guy want to do that?
Because he's Thomas Edison. Sorry, Zach, I didn't cut you off.
No, I feel like if it was the stock market, that he'd be arrested, absolutely. But because it's the crypto world, it's like the wild, wild west.
I was just about to say, how much fun is that? Oh man,
it's not fun at all when you have billionaires messing up the average man's wallet.
Oh no, come on, you guys gotta get a little bit of that Dogecoin in your back pocket. I'll tell you how you'll love this, Zach. So I wake up at 4:00 in the morning. Nature was calling, so I was sitting scrolling through my phone as that moment was happening. I'm not even trying to be funny, like doing that. That's what was happening. So I was sitting on my phone looking at Twitter. And I think it was Joe Salino like retweeted something. I'm feeling like, they're good kids at camp. I like them. They're a great family. So, and he had retweeted something that said he had like, do yourself a favor, buy Doge, and thank me later kind of thing. And I'm thinking like, all right, let me just see what he's retweeting. So I like looked up like Doge on like my phone, and it was like 1 cent. And I'm like, I have like $200 like left in my Robinhood account just sitting in there, like maybe like buying power, if you will, just like that's not in any type of stock. So I was like, I'll just throw it in there and just see where it went. And then it just, I was like, all right, this is fun. You can't, I know. I know. I get the train. If I was on the train, I'd love it. I just, from an outside looking in, I think it's ridiculous.
ridiculous.
I saw Barry McCockner. I thought had the best tweet though. I think if you're hating the Doge movement, I thought he nailed it perfectly. He said all those people tweeting about like Doge doing great. It's like someone tweeting about how great their fantasy football team's doing. It's like that's great. No one cares. Like,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's really fair. I mean, I kind of have fun. I'm like, all right, we got a community going. We're all trying to pick each other. It's like that. It's got that sports vibe when you're on the bus. Like, just get on the bus.
Well,
it's 50
and
cents.
I want to rehash that. I'm all for the people like you that are just going in for something fun. I'm not for people like Elon deciding how much it can be worth. Like, think about if you were one of the people that's like just getting in on the fun because they see it 70 cents and everyone's like it's going to $1. You think you're going to make a lot of money. Well, let's say it gets to $1 and Elon decides to cash all this crap out, and then you're stuck with 50 cents, and you have to wait for somebody else to like become the next Elon and do that. It's just like, I just don't like that at all.
I love how we've turned into like a CNBC, like Fox Business show over here. Just like this is the most we've talked about maturity, like or mature topics. I think on this show, like normally it's me talking about like oh man, my fingers smell like cheese balls today. Like oh, it's like really cool. Like and then like this is like we're talking about stocks and getting in and getting out at the right time. This is like maturity, guys. Like this is pretty cool stuff. All right, Joey, take it back in the world of immaturity because I think this is, and I swear I didn't even like try to just do this on the fly. If you want the kings of immaturity, in my opinion, this group would agree with me. There's like fan bases, and look, I'm not even like this is not me like trying to like have fun with you two and like just drop like right in the middle and just like try to like have a fight break out. How there's certain fan bases that like try to piss the other person off, and I'm not talking about like people in the East Coast that like live to like throw down just for a sports game. I'm talking like the fan bases that like don't really know what's going on. They're actually more interested in just like someone else not doing something instead of their own team doing something, much like the Penguins rooting against the Flyers. That kind of example. Well, the Vikings are the kings of that, that they only care about the Packers losing and not them winning. So, Zachary, I'm proud of you because I know you weren't a fan of this one either, and this is my clickbait where I'm going with this, and obviously I'm probably a little biased. Oh, good. I knew this was going to happen. I looked at the production today, and I said, I just have a feeling my clickbait's just going to get in a little bit of trouble with this file. So let me clean this up real quick. There we go. All right. So Adam Thielen, I don't know, what show was it on that podcast or something? Do you guys know what he was on? I'll pull the clip up.
It was some podcast. It was irrelevant.
Oh, guys. So to that point, yeah, like we're saying, it was just some irrelevant podcast. Let's see how I'm feeling. All right, but anyway, to that point, so I guess they were asking about like the Packers and blah, blah, blah. So I pulled up the graphic, and without the context, he says the whole stadium is not referring to Lambeau Field. The whole stadium is not nice. There's nothing fancy about it. It's like bleacher seats. All right, let me actually pull up the clip just so you can have some context about it. Because like I was telling you guys in our group chat earlier, when his first thing pissed me off more than that.
Leaving Lambeau with a victory. There's literally nothing better.
Like, what's that locker room like compared to what you have at Minnesota now?
Yeah,
it's terrible.
and the whole stadium's not nice.
Yeah.
It's not. There's nothing fancy about it. Like there's nothing better than leaving Lambeau with a victory. There's literally nothing better.
Like, what's that locker room like compared to what you have at Minnesota now?
Yeah,
it's terrible.
and the whole stadium's not nice.
Yeah.
It's not. There's nothing fancy about it. Like it's bleacher seats.
Well, I'm pretty sure I looped that twice. That was enough. All right. Anyway, first of all, I told you guys before, it's like their Super Bowl when they play the Packers at Lambeau Field. And all right, I'm almost like, all right, just wrap this up, Kieran. This doesn't need like a 10-minute segment. Just, it pisses you off. And Zach, you understand, it's not, Lambeau Field's not a trashy stadium. And just because there's bleachers, that's definition. It's the church.
It's history.
Come on now.
It's character.
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be a plasma screen TV with heated seats and leather and comfort this, comfort that. I mean, come on, that's history. Lambeau Field's history.
Yeah, this guy's saying that we're like that.
Also, not your stadium. Like it's not their stadium. Like, why should they care what your seats are like?
I know, you're right. That's a good point. Oh, look at this. Beltran's got jokes apparently in the chat tonight. That's fun. That's fun stuff there, Joshua. And I feel that there was some points in the chat earlier too about the thing with the Rodgers and wishing that someone would speak up and say something. Actually, let's that point. Do you want to just jump into some football chatter now? real quick, before we'll get into the Rodgers stuff in just a second and just kind of recap what have we learned in the last week, which is actually nothing, but we can put a little gloss on that answer for the audience. But real quick, let's just jump in. So the NFL schedule releases on Wednesday. All right, it's fun, right? Like I feel like that's when it starts feeling a little bit more real, right?
How many leaks are we going to see?
I think the
like every year.
Although you want a really, really funny story real quick, I won't. This is me not getting sidetracked. So the guy we played on our softball team in college, and he didn't really elaborate on this, but he somehow, I think he interned with the Eagles or something, somehow actually got a hold of their schedule like a couple hours before it got out. And granted, this is also like 6-7 years ago, so it's not like it was. I don't think at that point they were really still doing like a big event on the NFL. But it was still obviously like it comes out at this time type of thing. So he tweeted out and like he said the Eagles like went like berserk and like basically like interrogating like who released this to you, like like if it's like Howie Roseman's like assistant, like it was one of the funniest stories I ever heard. But anyway, so that's all I ever think about when I hear of NFL schedule release week.
The Eagles are crazy with that. Like, I had a roommate in college who he's a video producer, so he did video production as an intern with the Eagles, and it was when Chip was the coach, and he called him the 97.5 one day, just like a normal conversation, and he was like, yeah, man, like, you know, I'm interning with the Eagles, and so whoever was, I think it was Mikey Miss was like, oh, like, you know, how's Chip? Like, is he a good guy? Like, anything you got, like, you know, positive, negative? And he just was, it was such a basic answer, like, oh, like, you know, he's great, like, you know, a lot of personality, like that kind of an answer. And the Eagles literally fired him. They're like, you can't talk about anything on 97.5 unapproved.
Damn.
Which I get, but like, I only get the firing if he said something bad.
Right, like give him a warning.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it worked out fine. Like, he actually got good press, not bad. So.
Right. All right, but anyway, to wrap that, you're right. And to get to that point, I mean, is there anything? I mean, it's funny, Josh. If you're listening, still, I want to. There's a quote you once said, and this is where I'm scared. I'm about to go down this road if Aaron Rodgers gets traded. And I remember we were talking. It was the second year after the Packers missed the playoffs, and we were talking about the draft, and we both said. And I remember he said he was like, "Here, I can't do it anymore. I can't suck anymore. I can't take it anymore." And I was like, I can't either." Like, and he's like, "I know, but like we this is a little bit more." I was like, "I know." And not to be that guy, I'm like, well, we kind of like. I'm like, okay, the last 2 years have actually been pretty nice for us, minus the way it's ended. But like, at least the majority of the ride's been comfortable. I know, like, this is the year for this. I know that group chat's popping and going, Zach. I know, like, there's a different smell in the air if you're a Giants fan this year. And I don't know if it was because of the way the season ended last year with like beating Dallas and like ending on. I remember I said I was like, you guys got to win that game. Like, you have to win that game to at least make yourselves feel like next year means something. And I think it does. So I guess. Not to be like, how much does the schedule mean? Because I'll state the quick obvious thing real quick. Yes, we could all sit there and go like 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4, you know, like and do the whole get up. But like we know that's not how it works with injuries and stuff. But it's seriously, as a Giants fan, looking to have that like continue that renaissance off the back end, the back nine of last year. How good are you feeling? Or excited about the schedule, I should say.
Oh, I mean, I'm optimistic. I mean, you know about the group chats. Like, every year I'm always saying we're going 12-4, and we end up going 4-12. So. No, of course I'm excited. I'm optimistic. But for me, it's not really necessarily the schedule as far as like when we play certain teams. I mean, that's obviously important. But for me, it's like when's our bye week? Because like I don't want to be one of those teams who has like a week 4 bye week, and then you're dying off at the end of the season. So for me, I always look for the bye week, to be honest with you, more so than the actual logistics of the schedule. That's
such a good point. It is. I mean, because it's like, you know what it's like? It reminds me when you had in high school when you got like your class schedule mailed to you that like a couple weeks before school started, and the first thing you look at is when's lunch. Do I have 4th period lunch? Am I gonna be starving the rest of the day? Like, do I have like a bye week, a week 4 bye, or am I gonna like be at 7th period lunch, or it's like I have a week 12 bye, and it's like, you know, it's like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But no, and to that point, looking at with Beltran's in the chat, let me ask you, Zach. I mean, we kind of, I feel like, start doing this a little bit during the off season. We're talking about team ceilings and stuff. And Chad, obviously, I want your input on this too because this is your neighbor. But what's the ceiling on the floor for the Giants? You think this year?
Oh man,
I'm putting you on the spot there, but I mean, you know,
the moon. To the moon.
I mean, so do you really think? We'll walk it in like. Maybe I'll answer the question first, and you can pick at it for a second. I would say your par is playoffs. Like wild card weekend should be like par on your scorecard, where it's like if the season plays that way, you're like, okay, it's par golf. Like I was fun. Like it's better than shooting a 100 like I do, kind of a thing. Like right, like it's not exactly like you want to obviously shoot under, like, but you know what I mean. Like that's kind of where I look at it for you guys. Make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's all right. Ceiling 12-5, floor 7-10. There you go, straight up. But no, yeah. If we make the playoffs, I'll be happy as hell. I love playing meaningful football. I mean, even though we finished 6-10 last year, at least our Week 17 game was a meaningful one, technically. So and it showed we can win in those moments. So I don't know. I'm optimistic. Like I said, every year I say we're going 12-4, 12-5 this year. So
now, Chad, real quick, I almost warmed you up here in the bullpen. I think you guys are the smoking gun in this whole thing. Like, if you're that team where, like, this like, Howie's an idiot, Sirianni was a bad hire, like, and just Jalen Hurts was a bad, like, it was all a mess, then, like, that's one. But then, on the other hand, if your line, like, comes back and is healthy, Jalen Hurts actually is really good, your weapons start becoming, like, real weapons, Devontae Smith's a star, your defense, like, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, my, like, okay. Like, and then Washington's not bad. And then I think Dallas is going to... It's funny because it's almost like all the things I was saying last year, I'm like, I'm going to close my eyes and copy and paste it again and just say it again and be like, they're all going to be good this year. I really do think the NFC East is going to have their best foot forward out this year in general.
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of what we're seeing with, like, the NL East, which I guess is pretty similar to what we saw last year. But I think we're going to see, like, more wins from... like collectively from everybody. I think everyone in the division is going to finish in that 7, 8, 9, 10 games winning games won. I don't know how to say that. 7 to 10 wins is what I think the whole division will go. The place I'm at with the Eagles though is like I think this year is like a pass, like not a pass, but like it's either going to be like better than we expected, and it's going to be great. And if we make the playoffs, it'll be awesome. If we don't, if we're at least better than what we were last year, it looks like we're moving up. Or it's going to suck. And I went through a year of sucking last year. It's not great. But then I guess you can just move on from Hurts and have all the picks in the world in the first round next year. So I'm not too excited. Like I'm not usually ever excited for the schedule release. I think it gives me more anxiety than it provides, fuel for me, because I just look at all the teams and I'm just like, yeah, this is not going to be fun. But yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at. The other thing I can't wrap my mind around, because we all share this opinion. Week 1, half the teams win, half the teams lose. Right?
That's right, Nate. I've been trying to tell you that for a while.
well, it's like it's not the worst thing in the world to be 0-1, and it's not the greatest thing ever to be 1-0. It's just like you just happen to be half the teams that won, half the team that lost. But like there's like this weird obsession right now with Giants fans wanting to play the Eagles. We always play the Redskins, and they always play the Cowboys. And I hate that teams start out with divisional opponents, because I want the divisional games to mean something. I don't want it to
be in the back, Chad.
When we beat the Redskins, Giants, or Cowboys, I wanted it to be meaningful, not having the other fan base with the excuse of it's just week 1, like it's week 1. So I don't understand this obsession that the Giants fans want the Eagles week 1, because we literally have an excuse built in for us by the whole rest of the league. Like every person in the world, if you lose week 1, the standard response is it's just week 1, plenty of time. Like it's a built-in excuse.
And can I add to that real quick, Zach, before you answer? Like the Packers, the last 2 years, it was at the Bears, home against the Vikings, and it was at the Vikings, home against the Lions, and the home ones are even worse. Like, cause to your point, Chad,
you're giving away home game.
You're like, this is a game where no matter what happens, this team will not have their stuff together, because especially now with the new NFLPA and like how there's basically like they're not allowed to practice before the season starts. It's like a high school team. Where like to that point, I look at this and I say, oh my God, like especially we're cutting down on like. I do not want the most meaningful games, the games that when I look back and I'm screaming when they like pull up all the graphics like week 15, I'm like, you should have lost that game to the Vikings, damn it! Like where like they add up, and the Nets, and even 2 years before, a year before that, they were home against the Bears, and then they were home against the Vikings. It was like I remember thinking like, oh great, we have to win both games right out of the gate. It's like, but sorry. I'm obviously emotional about that too, Zachary. The question was about the Eagles and Giants playing each other week 1. I am just with Chad, and I hate the idea that divisional rivals playing each other out of the gate.
Well, I just wonder if they do put like your first divisional game in that first 3-4 weeks, and then your last 3-4 weeks. I almost wonder if they do that to see like how prepared you are from the off season. Your team's usually full health. Like I don't know, but I don't know. I understand though for sure.
I love the ones at the end of the year. That makes the most sense in the world to me.
That's what Josh said in the chat.
Is if you're trying to have these teams compete for the division, which is the easiest way to make the playoffs in the NFL. Obviously, the wild cards are a crapshoot. Like make those at the meaningful times in the year. Like I just anything early in the season, like it's so obvious that none of these teams are ever ready to play. So like I just don't get it. Like why can't we watch those boring, Eagles and Titans games that nobody cares about? Like why can't those be in the beginning of the year?
Yeah, the Eagles play the Browns week 1. That's like it doesn't matter. It's week 1. Like.
Yeah. So that's just where I stand. It's nothing against Giants fans because Eagles fans do the same stuff and so do Packers fans and Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone does it. I just never understand it because it's the first week.
Yeah.
Like it literally. I'm not saying games don't matter, but if of all the games in the entire season, that one matters the least.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. So it would be interesting if they decided to do a new approach where it's like, all right, so the last 6 weeks of the season, you're going to play just strictly divisional opponents. Like, would you like that, or do you think they should be broken up like mid-season, then end of season?
No, I'd love that. I think that would be like it would give me so much anxiety, but it would be all
conference like NCAA football where you play like your non-conference games first, then your conference games.
Yeah.
It's like an extra 6 weeks of playoff, basically.
And maybe you sprinkle in like two, like you put like an AFC and an NFC team like in there, like in almost like interleague play or something like that. Like it like back there to kind of break it up a little. Like, maybe you go like 4 games, then those 2 games, then 2 more games or something, or 3, 2 break, and then 3 or something like that. Like that'd be kind of cool.
It would. Yeah. I'm just personally tired of playing the Cowboys every week. It's just the same thing. It's like, oh, we want up Dallas. It's not that I want any particular team. It's just like I'm tired of it being Dallas every year. I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Well, I love what JB said that you guys should play each other week 17. That's perfect. Like that's what to your point, Chad. That's when it counts. That's when it actually means something. Right. And Zach, what do you? Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say, John?
No, I was just saying, yeah, like that.
Oh yeah, and let me ask you, Zach. So I saw in the chat too. They're asking, you've been up to Buffalo. It's a very blue collar. It's different, right? Like it's So what are your thoughts? And like it's weird because I don't know how to ask this. Is it like I feel like if I ask this question, it's almost like a fluffy way of saying, "What do you think of the vaccine, Zach?" But no, but I guess like I'm trying to ask you is like because they were asking in the chat, like, what do you think of the bill saying that like they would only like maybe have it where like only their like only fans that have been vaccinated can go and like because honestly I haven't seen a whole lot of other teams like say something like that and in a very rural place like that, that's kind of one of the places I wouldn't have expected as much, where it's like kind of a smaller, tight-knit community, you know what I mean? But maybe that's over, I don't know. That's, but whatever. That's, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I don't know how the community up there would react to it per se, but I think it's, it's their brass trying to do the right thing, I guess, from like a public and just overall safety and trying to move past this so that way, we can move forward with 100%. You see the commercials out there that the vaccines are available, so like let's all do this together and get it done so we can get 100% and life be normal again. So I think it's just the bill is trying to do the right thing from like a PR perspective and just general health safety. So
yeah,
I don't know how they would react to it. The fans are probably gonna be a little resistant, in my opinion, but
well, it's funny staying in the AFC. You guys, it was funny because you mentioned the Eagles and the Giants with ceilings. I'm curious. I did not do this on purpose. It was just a coincidence. I wrote down my notes today. I was going to ask you guys, just curious, like, what are your thoughts on the Colts this year, right? Like, I'm not just doing like the Cole Carson Wentz thing, but the Jags suck. Like, I don't know what they're doing.
They got Tim Tebow now.
There's something about. I love Tim Tebow, and I'm actually excited he's going to get another shot. But it's just like, it's just old news. Like, I don't even know if he'll make the team, and it's just like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally the same way you are with the Titans, but then Derrick Henry rushes for 175 yards every week, so then I just get shut up right away. And so until somebody figures out how to stop that man, they're going to be in contention for that division. The Jags, yeah, like, I don't know, 6 wins, maybe. And the Texans are a dumpster fire every year. So having or not having Deshaun Watson, either way, I think they're kind of screwed. Like the Colts, I think it really just lies in Wentz. Like we saw with him on the Eagles, is he can be your franchise quarterback that leads you in tough games and tough matchups. And just takes over a game, especially within the division. That's kind of where he excels. But we've also seen the Carson Wentz that throws 3 picks against the Vikings in away games, and sets you up for failure before the rest of the team can even do anything. So I think it just really matters like where his head is at, and if he is healthy. So I think just as we were saying with the Eagles for the last 3 years, is his head right and is he healthy? Like, that's it.
Yeah. So here you go. Jags, regular season wins, over under. What do you think it is?
4.5,
5.5, 5.5,
6.5.
Damn it, I was going to say.
Chad, you're right on the line.
Nice.
Oh, very good, Chad.
Mm-hmm. I think I'd hammer that under, but I mean, that sounds.
I was going to say, do you have the Texans one? Because I can look that up.
Well, the Colts is 9.5, and the Texans are 4.
They suck.
4.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Who are the Titans?
The Titans are 9.
Okay, yeah.
It's funny. I'm looking now. It's funny how there's one team that's not listed on there.
Oh boy, is it Green Bay waiting to see what's going to happen? It is Green Bay.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it is. But all right, that's Packers is back to the AFC. No, Chad, I totally agree. Now, one thing I want to add in here. So you mentioned something, Chad, in there about like Wentz and how he had a horrible season last year. I feel like everyone wants to make this one lazy ass excuse for him, and I'm not even like blaming people because I probably look at stats and I'm not fully educated because I'm looking too much at numbers. But people are like, guys, he was sacked 50 times last year, 50 times, most of the NFL. Do you know he only played in 12 games? Like, do you know how egregious that is? It's okay. But if you actually watch the Eagles play, Chad, how many times? I'm not saying this all the time, but how many times where it's like, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it, like, and then he still didn't get rid of it. It reminded me of like a kid in the backyard where you're like, what the hell are you doing? Like, get rid of the football. Like, you can't hold on to it for 8 seconds. It's like, yes, that's a sack, but it's like, I mean, come on, that's not at the line's expense. And sure, and plus they were hurt. Like, so that whole narrative, oh, he was tossed around like a rag doll. It was all like the offensive line's fault. And they had a rugby player. Okay, well, the rugby player played pretty well actually for them. So it's just a lazy-ass take I hate that the media and the national spotlight's doing. Obviously, I'm getting like red here, defending it. Damn, I didn't realize I was going to go to work for the Eagles this much. But I just hate that take because I'm like, if you want, especially that Dallas sack, and it's funny because when they're talking about these things, rolling the clips, he's like, you see that one, I think it was at home when it was Dallas, where he's just sitting there and he just gets like knocked over like a tidal wave. I'm like, oh, we're all watching that together. I felt bad sitting there. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like what is this? So I don't know. That's my thought on the whole thing.
Well, I got 3 parts, but they're all quick. So part 1 is it's same thing with Russell Wilson. Like Russell Wilson's been the whole offseason complaining that he wants more linemen or better linemen because he gets sacked more than any quarterback ever. When you play that style of I'm going to run around in the pocket and try to make a play late, like you're going to get sacked. So like you're adding more sacks to your total there. Number 1, yes, it shouldn't be a huge number, like a record-breaking number, which Wentz either did or was on pace. I think he was on pace to do before he got pulled. But like, it shouldn't be that high. But the second part of that is, yes, holding on to the football. Like, if you are into sports as much as we are, you.
Hey, Ron is. He nailed it. I didn't even see it. He had the same point in the chat too. I feel bad. Like people like us, you're right, that understand what's like when you watch the game on Sunday.
Well, but it's not even watching the game. It's beyond watching the game on Sunday. It's like when you go watch the All-22. We literally saw every single week there would be read number 1 open, read number 2 open. He's staring at read number 3, who's not open yet, but it's going to be open in 3 more sack. Like, if you would have just looked at your first 2 reads and gave it a shot instead of going to third and just waiting, for that to get open, you would have had it. And 3, I think it's just the combination of where the guy was. Like, he was in his own head. Howie was in his head. Doug was in his head. Jeffrey was in his head. Like, he had a lot of things going on. So he was just trying to be Superman and take over, and he just wasn't able to do it. So, yeah, I think there will be less sacks this year to deal with, but I'm agreeing with you. If you're going to sit there and hold the ball and not get rid of it, when there are people open, you're going to get sacked more often than other people.
No, I'll tell you what. Speaking of getting sacked, is Bob Baffert getting sacked at horse racing, Zach? Was that a cheesy way to segue into that? I mean, I feel like it's like Bill Belichick and cheating. I feel like it's like the same thing. It's just like every 5 years it pops up. Bob Baffert, drug test. I don't know.
Well, I wonder if they're going to start doing a little bit more research into seeing, like, is this the first incident or was there cover? Like, I'm not saying this is the case, but like they're probably going to do some more due diligence now, maybe on his other wins, which is a shame because you would like to think that it's all legit, but. Yeah, I mean, I think it was anti-inflammatories, right? Which you're not allowed to have, not allowed to do any of that. So,
on race day, that's it. On race day,
right?
They can be taking that to recover after the race, before the race, but race day, no anti-inflammatory.
Which makes sense, right? I mean,
it makes sense. What doesn't make sense? Did you hear what he's like? This is like something right out of Seinfeld. Did you hear his excuse?
Mm-mm.
Unreal. He basically said someone in their camp was hammered and took a piss behind the barn, and it must have sprayed on the hay that the horse eats, and then that the horse ate it, and that's why. And that the guy who had taken the piss also had cough syrup in his system, and that's why he failed the test.
Oh my!
Seriously, that's like saying like my dog ate the homework, but it's like worse than that. It's like saying it's like really. It's like yeah, he actually went into my kitchen. He like pawed open, like got a fork and a knife out, and then started cutting the homework piece by piece. Grabbed some Chick-fil-A sauce, dipped it in the paper in the sauce, ate it, and then digested it like mid-afternoon the next day. And it's like no, none of that happened. Like none of that actually happened. None at all. And that's what I feel like this whole thing is with the Kentucky Derby, right?
Yeah.
It's a shame. Did they take away the title from? Did they give it to the second place horse now, or what's the deal?
No, yet. I think they suspended him. Like, pull the tweet again. Like they suspended him from Churchill Downs. This is the clip of the horse.
From Churchill Downs, but yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, rightfully so, but yeah.
What do you? I mean, Zach, you're way. I feel like like all of us, right? You're way more in tune with like horse racing. What is your image of Bob Baffert? Right, I'm the guy who stops by 3 times a year for the 3 races and said, "Oh, he's like Bill Belichick because he always wins, and now he's got some cheating thing kind of looming over his head." Wait, but is that like an accurate picture? Like, what do you think of him as a
Bill Belichick?
Yeah. Yes, it really is. I always viewed him as like a Nick Saban, like same thing as Bill Belichick, except Saban hasn't been, there's been no issues there. So I don't know. I always thought he was good. I mean, it was a combination of him and he picks good jockeys. So it's not like it's not like it's just him per se. But I don't know. I always thought it was legit. There's usually like 1 or 2 guys that always stand out in a lot of sports, and we're used to seeing that. So I thought he was one of those guys, but. Like a Bill Belichick, Nick Saban type deal, but apparently he was, doing a little shady business. So it's a shame. It ruins his image, in my opinion. Unfortunately, but hey.
Definitely. And 2 great points in the chat, real quick. So Josh was saying they'll strip it, obviously, if it is confirmed. And then a good question though is and what is it? Is it Melina Silver or something? Is that what it is? Medina Silver, or something like that. Will they be able to run in the Preakness this weekend or no?
I would think so. I mean, it's not the horse's fault. It's not it's not the horse said, "Oh, give me the Advil or whatever."
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I would think that he would. It would just have to be a different trainer, I guess. I don't know. That's a good question.
Medina Spirit. That's it, not Silver. Jesus.
Medina Spirit.
Oh yeah, what did I say? Molina Silver. Jesus. That's. Well, you know what? Can I get a free pass for all the people who've ever butchered my name? All these years. All right. But to that point, they got us talking today, and we're thinking, what? So, name a good old sports scandal, right? Like one that. What do you think is maybe just that point? What's the wildest sports scandal you think that's ever happened? Right. I want to hear from the chat too, because there's so many to pick from, and I love that we all. It's fun when we talk about these things and we all have different angles, and it's like that's such a good idea. To that point, who wants to go first? Zach, you want to go first?
Sure, let's do it. So my scandal involves an ex-husband. I don't know what the weapon was, but it was something about taking out another ice skater's knees. So we're going with Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan, both of them U.S. Olympic figure skaters, and Tanya Harding, her ex-husband had orchestrated an assault on Nancy Kerrigan, where I take out I think it was her right knee, and it was like a month before the Olympics. And what I think is crazy is Kerrigan ended up being fine, and she ended up finishing with a silver medal, and Harding ended up finishing 8th. But I just think it's just crazy to me how you're going to assault, which technically they're teammates, right? They're both from the U.S. team. They're both on the figure skating team. They're teammates. Yeah, they compete against each other, but the fact that you literally hire someone like Angela did to bust Oscar's knees with a crowbar, the fact that you're going to do that against your own teammate in competition is pretty low and pretty fascinating to me. So that has to get mentioned.
Funny, someone in the chat said they lived through it, and it's funny because it's funny them saying that, because doesn't it almost have a fictitious ring to it now in 2021? It's like, what? This happened? And then we all know as growing up, the funny thing to add to your point, Zach, it's funny because I feel like that whole narrative took on a life of its own. Right? Seinfeld did a spoof off where Jerry's dating the understudy, and then George runs over Bette Midler and the softball game, and Rochelle the musical. Right? And there's there's documentaries on it. This really did take on, and it's one of those things where when we're younger and we're like, oh, that's what this is about. It's yeah. So this is what happened. Oh wow. This is one of those things. You're right. Mm-hmm. And then figure skating, nonetheless, was supposed to be grace and finesse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's competitive. Apparently, it's cutthroat.
They're not just cutting the ice.
No.
Chad, what about you though? Do you got a good scandal? Oh, did we just lose Chad? Oh no, we got Chad. Kind of dipped out there for a second,
Yeah, my fault.
Oh no, dude, not a problem. You're just fine, brother. Do you have a sports scandal that you're thinking of?
Yeah. I was in between two. They're both, but I think I'm gonna go with Pete Rose just because I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy in two parts. One, that he would do it knowing that he could get in serious trouble, considering the Black Sox happened, however.
1919.
Yeah,
got the notes right here for after this. 40,
50 years before he was playing, right? So you have to know you're going to get in trouble for it. But then two, I just think the MLB's continued assault on the man, being that we now have legal sports gambling, is ridiculous because he didn't bet against his team and purposely lose like the Black Sox. He simply just bet on himself. MJ didn't ever bet on NBA games to our knowledge. But he would always be betting on himself, and everyone thought it was he's being a competitor. So I just think I think he's one of the best players of all time in the MLB. I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and it's stripped because he was doing something stupid that wasn't illegal. It's not like he went to jail. He just was doing something stupid. So that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, I mean it sucks, right? It's just such a murky. You're right. It's almost like he was a sacrificial lamb kind of a thing. And you're right. And you think, I mean, just you think about like it almost diminishes the thing. I think it sucks about the whole Pete Rose thing is like if we did like that whole therapy thing where it's like name the first thing that you think of like polar bear cold like what like that whole thing like a therapist or whatever would do. It's like Pete Rose, you think cheating, gambling, like whatever. Like that's the first things that come to your head because you're just like it's natural because there's that roadblock, if you will, before you like learn more about how well he was or good of a baseball player, how well he played.
Yeah.
I agree with what Joe P saying in the chat about taking steroids or performance-enhancing drugs is 10 times worse than what Pete Rose did.
Oh, hell yeah.
I completely agree.
Well, I mean,
100%.
How about stealing signs in the World Series? Like, I mean,
that too.
Well, isn't that I think, Chad, that's such great points. Like, I think it's shameful how MLB is basically, if you like took all three cases and you're like, okay, who got prosecuted the hardest? Like, oh, the guy who gambled on it. It's betting. Not to mention, he was gambling on his own team to win. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he was betting. It's not like it was like he was betting against them. Which there's almost that ring to it. It's like, no, and not that I'm condoning what he did, but it's just like, okay, like it wasn't like he was throwing games.
No, exactly. Like the only thing he did wrong was he probably used information he knew about other teams to better when he should bet on his own team. But beyond that, like, I mean, I wait until there's a minute left before games happen so I know all the information. Like, it's just part of being a gambler sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny. Speaking of gambling, you just mentioned it, Chad. Let's break it all down here. Gotta find there's the graphic. All right, the old Black Sox scandal of 1919. Old Sheelish Joe and the rest of them. Oh man, did you guys ever read the Dan Gutman? Did you read any of the Dan Gutman books, like Honus and Me, Dave and Me? Oh man,
I read Honus and Me.
Oh, dude, they're really
I
good.
think I did Honus like a while ago as well.
Even oh my God, Josh has a great one in here too. I've got Uncle Ricky in the chat too. Look at this, we got the chat heating up now. This is beautiful. JB has a great one. Tim Donaghy. Oh yeah. Now, real quick, I almost want to like.
He's from around here. You know that, right?
I do know that, Chad.
Yeah.
Because I'll one up you there. So my cousin kicked his ass in grade school or high school or middle. Like I think it was in high school or middle school. Yeah, he was a punk growing up too. So my cousin's like older than me, like by like 20 or so years. So it's like we're not the same age, obviously. So he actually ended up going. Like they were in Delaware County. They grew up together. Everyone said he was a jackass and stuff. And yeah, my cousin beat his ass in a fight. So I will never forget. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Shout out to Robert. Woo. Yeah. And yeah, the whole crew's loyal listeners to this show. This is awesome. This all ties together. It's beautiful. But. Yeah, it was. Oh my God, that was awful. But the Black Sox one. So here's the thing that I find interesting, real quick, in that one, is how much. So when you actually read like Shoeless Joe's involvement, right? Like you traded the damn thing because he was the best player, basically involved in the scandal. But essentially, what people have said after the fact was like the guy couldn't read, the guy couldn't write, like so he basically just signed something, and then like the mob basically just would give him like $5,000 a game, I guess, saying that he was involved. I mean, Chad, you would know these stats better, but basically people were saying like he had like I think the highest average in that World Series, like highest on base percentage, like he surely did not like cheat out on the game. Like he played quite well, and like basically one could argue that maybe he wasn't involved in much of the rest of it. But it's a very interesting story, right? And then, obviously 8 men out and all that, the whole get up, and it was the 1919 I think World Series against the Reds. Acting like I lived through it. It's like no, I had to look that up earlier today. But no, I mean it's just it's crazy, right? Because there's not really a story like that, right? Where 8 people were banished from a sport, right? There's a twist to it.
Yeah, no, I think it's insane. I think like that's just one of those things where I could see myself being a fan of the team that ended up winning, and then just you can't. How do you even feel good about that at the end of the day? Because you figure out the other team was basically letting you win. So
this was Philadelphia. If that was the Mets instead of the Reds, people in Philadelphia would be saying that one ring doesn't count. The White Sox gave it to you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's just how it works. No, I just that was it was that and Pete Rose that I was between. So I think both of them are just insane in their own right.
All right. Well, on a cheerier topic, like not to. It's funny. It's the off season. I feel like the football off season and just in general, I feel like it's like when we can kind of have those fun little segments. And speaking of football in the off season, DK Metcalf, just see him as a gazelle. Ran 110 seconds. Damn,
He looked like a monster standing next to the other runners.
I know. It was like a Ferrari and then like that pickup truck that can go like 152. Like, Zach, you know what I'm talking about? Those guys you see on the highway, it's like,
Oh yeah.
like, whoa, there they go.
Like you look at all these guys, and then all of a sudden you see DK. It's just insane. And he held his own for a while.
Yeah. And it's funny because you think about. Oh, sorry, what did you say, Chad?
I was just going to say it was another. I should just start a segment, but not really a segment, but just create a Twitter page of sidetracks clickbait, and just go after all these idiots every time they make mistakes. If you look back, who reported initially? Emilio Acho. If you look back initially to Acho's first tweet about DK running, it was that he got 10.63 or whatever the hell it was, and he finished in 9th in his what do you call that? When there's multiple races, in his heat. There you go.
Sure.
And then I start seeing circling around through Bleacher Report, DK Metcalf finishes in 9th place at blah 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 event for USA track and field, and I'm like, well, no, he didn't come in 9th. He came in 9th in his heat. Like, can we please just
and he didn't make the point, not that I'm saying that snarky way. Like, yeah, he did, because so in all of them I tried to act like. So I ran track in high school. I can talk about this. Like, no, just all jokes aside. But yeah, normally, especially in the sprinting events, it's there might be 3 heats, right? Or so the way it works is maybe the top 3 people in the heat move on. So and depending on how big the race is, they might actually have a couple rounds of it basically, and you just have to keep finishing in the top 3 or top 4 to move on. So yeah, to your point. Now, sometimes
and regardless, it's cool. I think we should hype it up, and we are hyping it up. I just think it's ridiculous that we are at a point now where people are so quick they can't be accurate. It's not that hard to be accurate.
I know. It's more about being fast and accurate. But to that point, just name an athlete you think. And sorry, Zach, did you have something before that?
No.
I thought you were going to say something, so I felt bad. I was like, damn it, I think I just cut him off.
Good.
All right, but at that point, so we were talking today, right, about an athlete that would, because obviously DK was killing it in track. Name an athlete you just love to see them because of maybe their skill set or their athletic ability in certain areas in the sport they're great in, that you'd want to see them play another sport. Not move to it, but just almost like Michael Jordan going to baseball. It's well, yeah, he was a baseball player. Let's see how good he can play. You wanted to see what they could do in another sport.
Yeah, for me, it's I don't know, the whole thing with Bryson DeChambeau and his power with his drive and everything. I think it'd be cool to see him play baseball and to see if he can hit home runs or whatever. I know it's a whole other skill set, but I feel like his build and frame would be good for as a catcher or something, like that. Because I don't know how fast he is, if he could play in the outfield or infield, or not that catchers aren't fast, but you know what I'm saying. I think he's got the build for a catcher, and he's got the power where maybe he could be a home run hitter. We'll see. So
yeah. I could see it. Chad, what do you think? You're
Chad, you were a catcher, right? So, for a catcher, right?
Yeah, he's a little... I could just be... that's what I was about to say, because I could just be deceived by other people's, heights in golf, but he has to be 6'2", 6'3", right?
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Alexa, how tall is Bryson DeChambeau?
Bryson DeChambeau is 6 feet 1 inch tall.
6'1".
6'1".
Okay, yeah. So no, he's still slightly bigger than most, but no, that's not too big. And yeah, he definitely would have the power. It would just be about hitting 90-some miles an hour that moves. No, but it's good. I think everything, anyone trying to play baseball, that's going to be their first thing they have to worry about is first off hitting the damn thing. But if Bryson connects, it's kind of like Bryce. It's kind of like Mike Trout. He's definitely got the power in there to do something with it.
Or like Stanton, he'll hit one every 15 at bats.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
There's some good ones in the chat too. I saw Ronald Acuna Jr. in the slot. It's a great one. I love that all yours are number one fan pointing out Tim Tebow, right? He played professional baseball and then in the midst of his football career. I love Joe calling out Alexa finally worked for once. She was on a cold. We were talking about slumps.
She was.
Yeah, I'm talking about you. You don't have to light up every time. She was.
And the volume was on point too, because you usually can't hear her.
No, I worked on that because the Marlins were playing, so I made sure I fixed the volume for us.
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, but you're right. That's all we need exactly. It's she knew that no one could hear her anyway, so she was whispering wrong answers to me, sweet nothings. But now we got her back on track. But Chad, what about you? You got one?
So mine is Lewis Hamilton. He is a Formula One driver, but he's like legitimately the Michael Jordan of Formula One. Let's see. Since 2014, he's won 6. So that's 6 for 7 he's gone in the overall championship for Formula One, which is all points based. So it's kind of like the same thing as how golf works with the FedEx standings, and then I think NASCAR does the same thing. Like they have a points based system for all their races. So it's points based, and what I think's cool about slowly getting into Formula One here, but what I think's cool about Formula One is they have qualifying on Saturdays and the races on Sunday. So you're qualifying Saturday to get your position, the starting position, based off of individual lap times. So on top of that, let's say you start all the way in the back. There's 20 racers in Formula One. Let's say you start all the way in the back. Like it's hard to move up more than 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So you have to be on your A game on Saturday to qualify in a good spot to then win on Sunday. And this dude is just winning every single race. Not every single one, but like it's hard to stop the man. Like he's already 2-1 this year. And I'm pretty sure there's only been 3 races. So he's won 2 out of the 3 so far. He's sitting atop the standings going for his 5th in a row. 5th champ in a row. So just, I think putting someone that is able to just dominate a sport like that in another sport, like, take it as you will, like, he might not be as good of an athlete, like, head to toe with some of these other guys in other sports, but if you can just be that dominant, like, something in that brain is wired the right way. So, I would like to see him play any other sport.
No, I agree. Then the mental focus for any type of racing, especially like you said, like you got to have it for an extended period of time, and for you in any sport to be that dominant over that long of a span is extremely impressive.
Well, yeah. Zach, cars. Let me ask you this, like, and maybe like to crunch in on the details. I'm sure not just any other premium like NASCAR, Indy race, like anything like in that vein. Like, and Zach, cars better than all of us, me and Chad put together here. Like, how much? And you race too, so like how. I'm not going to like sit here and act like how more important is it like with each car? It's like, obviously that's important. But if you're a damn good driver, is it one of those things that doesn't matter if it's a go-kart, a golf cart, a car, like a van, or whatever? It doesn't matter. Like a truck, like that person knows how to like just the physics of the road, if you will.
I mean, the car is obviously very important in the performance of the car, but to be a good driver, like you got to be able to understand how the car works, and you can feel the car, and you're kind of in tune with the car. So that is a skill set in its own. And obviously, knowing the certain angles in the track, that's where you're going to maintain a certain speed, and you're going to be fastest at, going at a certain angle, whatever, in a turn, or when you're passing someone is super important. A lot of different skill sets involved.
So we're wrapping up on the show here. Damn, That's great. Mine was just the low hanging fruit. LeBron playing football, like just doing the whole like, like learning him as a tight end, right? Like, but I don't know. I feel like that's cheesy take.
See, I'd like that because everyone thinks that he'd be, the second coming of God playing football.
You would.
I would love to see it just so like the first time he catches a ball across the middle and a safety just lights him up and he's literally on the ground dead. Like that's what I want to see.
Questionable the entire season. LeBron questionable shoulder. LeBron questionable hamstring. LeBron
load
questionable
management.
hip. Yeah. There's a load management there. Like
he'd be the guy that like we dread every single week. Where it's like I don't even have a good example from the Eagles because they all do it. It's like Miles Sanders is actually a great example where the whole entire week he's not practicing. So you're like, he's not going to play this week, and then Saturday they're like, actually, LeBron James will be playing tomorrow. He'll be shooting up. Like, we don't know how much he's going to get in, and then he'll play a full, he'll play the whole game.
Would be a fantasy terror in his fantasy team.
my God.
But I guess that he's kind of getting to that point with basketball now. So
Yeah. Well, it's that point. We're getting to that point of Mojo Monday. So, do you guys want to kick it off here with a little? We got to get Mikey out dancing per usual. But yeah, does anyone want to bat first on Mojo Monday?
Sure, let's do it. So this was I'm with you, Chap, what you said about ESPN, by the way, earlier, how I just don't watch anymore. I don't even like their stuff on social media, really. But every now and then they'll post a nice, good, kind of heartwarming story that, the average person can kind of relate to a little bit. So it was SportsCenter particularly, and I think ESPN as well, the same thing, whatever, posted there was a youth soccer player that he scored a hat trick against the team whose coach, when this kid was 5 years old, had cut him and basically just left him behind as the team went on to go play in the tournament. And the coach was apparently really nasty. The kid was crying, and he scored a hat trick against that coach the other day. So good for him.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love a good revenge story.
So my Mojo Monday is my alumni. Alumni? I don't know how to say it the right way. I'm an alumni.
You're a LaSalle alumnus, but your fellow LaSalle alumni. There you go.
Yeah, there it is. So where do we start this? My Mojo Monday is the LaSalle baseball team. So for anyone that doesn't know, the program was cut. I want to say in the fall, and along with 7 other sports at the university. There's a part of budget cuts because we have an insane endowment, and it's it's the players that provide more tuition to the school. It's actually their fault that the school has no money. Anyway, they as a team decided not to sour and just kind of win one for the Gipper and have a crappy season. They are actually 29-16. They're on the verge of breaking LaSalle record for wins in the season, which was 31, set all the way back in 1985. They're on the verge of winning the A10. They're first in the conference right now at I want to say 12-6. And it's just a great knit of players that are all playing together in front of a passionate coach. The guy took some fire, quite honestly, in his first season as coach, but started to turn around the program, and right when he did turn it around, it got pulled out from under him. But no one on the team has stopped. It's been a great story the entire year. They have a chance, college baseball is hard to explain. I'm not going to really get into it right now, but they have a chance to at least be in a regional this year. Whether they get to a super regional and then the College World Series, nobody can predict that from a team up north right now. But it's right now it's one of the best seasons in LaSalle history, and it's on the verge of being the best season in LaSalle history. In their what could be their last year. So we actually, if anybody wants to help in the campaign, knows anybody that has a lot of money or willing to help out a local team, the university has come back to the leaders of the State of LaSalle baseball campaign and told them $1 to $2 million raised by pretty sure the end of this week. I think it was a 1 to 2 week thing, and they'll have another vote on the team. So that's our last ditch effort is try to raise this $2 million. Currently at over $500,000, so it's not like we're behind.
Right. Yeah.
We did as much as we could with the university really giving us no answers, but I just think hats off to those guys. It's so easy to just roll over and die, but that's not the mentality of the city. That's not the mentality, quite honestly, of LaSalle. I've taken a long look back at my time at LaSalle during this process, and they teach you a lot about being the best person you can possibly be, with values and having the right attitude in every situation. I think they have not done that at the administration level. Putting these guys in the situation and giving us zero answers throughout the process. but I think the players have been a great embodiment of what the university is supposed to be. So that's long-winded, but that's my Mojo Monday right there.
No, and Chad, I think that was perfectly well said. And I mean, you step back and you think about, right, these baseball players are like, and the way they're playing this season out are perfect ambassadors for this entire movement, right? Like, I mean, like you said, they're not quitting, they're not giving up, and obviously anything we can do to help out too. We want to, I mean, because you played for them, like, it's not just, oh, Chad, you played for them, but like, you're right, like, look at Coach Giannini, who's been on our show before, right? Like, Joe Farrell's been on our show before. Like I was telling you about, like some of the guys I was teammates with playing summer ball. Like, there is that demeanor and that blue collarness, but also with that sense of class and humility to it as well. And no, I have a whole lot of respect for LaSalle and their athletic program, because they're not the manicure campus. Like, it's so much. I don't mean this in a bad way. Like, but I think you'll get where I'm saying with this. It's like, if you want to go for, like, if you're rich, you'll go to Villanova. If you want to, like, party, go to, like, the big school in Philly, you'll go to Temple, right? Like, if you're a genius, you'll go to Penn or Drexel or something like that. Like, and then it's like, okay, well, maybe, like, you're not, like, a genius to go to Nova, so you'll go to St. Joe's. It's like, and everyone just, like, kind of looks at us out like, oh, you don't have a football team, you don't really have anything, like, you're just kind of in the hood and you suck. Like, so you guys wear that badge of honor and that blue collarness, and I think it's the culture's great there, and I think it's a great school, and I think, like it's hard to tell someone to sign up to go to school for, like, what, $45,000-$50,000 a year when it's in the ghetto, like, and there's not a whole lot of manicure stuff around it, like, right? Well, so if you're going to go there and dig in, you obviously want roots there.
No, you're right. It's not the sexy pick. It never has been the sexy pick. But one of the things, like, we don't even have really Greek life at LaSalle. Like, there's a couple frats, a couple fraternities, or fraternities. There's a couple frats, there's a couple sororities, but at least from my time being there, like, the real close knit of the school and the people that really drive other people to go to the university are the sports athletes and coaches. Like, not just the basketball team when they're good, when they're not good. It's like you go to a party and you're able to hang out with people that at other schools, the only time you're seeing them is, walking down the street and you're like, oh, what's up, Hackenberg? Like Penn State, like that kind of thing. Like, you get to be really close with some of the great. Yeah, you get to be really close with some of the greatest athletes. It's weird to say this, but in the world, like a Division I athlete, the percentages of playing a Division I sport are crazy insane. I'm not saying everyone's a celebrity, but, like, I mean, I went to parties on Hill with Tyler and Garland. Like, you don't get that at other universities. So, it's terrible. I think it's such a wrong decision in so many different ways. But they've just done such a good job to battle through it and not let it affect them for this year.
No, for sure. And, obviously, like I said, hopefully in those 2 weeks they'll get the money. And maybe in 2 weeks we'll have another Mojo Monday, right? Yeah. You don't want me to pop some champagne or something? And I'll wrap mine up real quick. I'll make it fast. So Ryan Miller, I mean, it's Captain America. Good Lord. And Zach, I mean, there's without a shadow of doubt, I was actually thinking about you the entire time when I was, like, writing my notes after this. I was like, man, if he was a Sabres fan like 15 years ago, Ryan Miller would be like your Eli Manning of hockey. Yeah. Like, that's, and I mean that, like,
I remember watching him.
Yeah, the Olympic Games. I mean, he's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool, as much as I hate the Penguins. It's kind of cool when Pittsburgh gives you a standing ovation. Like, it was the first game, I think, he came back after the Olympics in 2014 when they lost to Canada. And they gave him a standing O for, like, how he played. And then, obviously, they gave him a standing O last night up in Minnesota. I'm not sure. Is that his home? Is he from Minnesota by chance, Chad? Do you know that? That was complete, shot in the dark. But
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Oh, sorry. I was asking. Do you know Ryan Miller's from Minnesota by chance? Alexa, where's Ryan Miller from?
Ryan Miller was born in East Lansing, Michigan.
Damn. Oh, Michigan. Okay, that's 2 for 2 though. Those were not 2 easy questions.
I know, right?
But no, obviously, hats off to Ryan Miller for an awesome career and everything accomplished. And, thankful as a USA Hockey fan. It's funny. I always tell the story. I'll never forget. It's funny. My dad might not remember this, but I remember so vividly being home on, I don't even know what the occasion may have been, because I guess it was like February of senior year of my college. And I was home that weekend, and it was a Sunday. I remember we were about to have dinner with, like, my grandma, my aunt, and stuff. And her watch was like a Sunday afternoon for the gold medal, and unfortunately Canada won. But I remember the U.S. was down by 1, and Zach Parise scored like 7 seconds left, and they pulled the goalie to tie it to send it overtime. And that's where, of course, Crosby ripped our hearts out. But I remember like in that moment, and Parise was on the Devils at the time, and Ryan Callahan's like a Ranger obviously at the time, and I just remember like Parise scoring in that 7 seconds, like it was like around, it was like, and I remember he flipped it in, and me and my dad like hugged each other, yeah, it was just like. It's one of those moments where like it's so cool. Like in a world where like we hate the Rangers or hate the Penguins as a Flyers fan, and like obviously everybody hates their respective rivals. But that's what Ryan Miller brought the best in all of us. You know what I mean? Like it was really cool, like watching those games, and obviously he was just as much of a hero. With I believe he was the goalie during that TJ Oshie action in Russia. I believe he was the goalie. I could be wrong on that. It might have been Jonathan Quick, but either way, he did an awesome job for Team USA and was a great ambassador for hockey. So hats off to Ryan Miller on an awesome career. Winningest American goalie too.
It's great career. So that's a good choice.
And I'll tell you, it's another good choice. Having Myron Mixon on the show, boys. Woo! We gotta get this hyped up. Let's go. Come on. On a scale of 1 to 15, I'm like 1,000 right now. That's how hyped up I am. Whew! This is going to be so much fun. I've been thinking about this for weeks. First of all, this is going to be the ultimate test. Like I always say, I don't read. I couldn't even tell the last book I read. I guess it's the Packers book I've been reading, but like something like non-sports related. We're going to crank this out tomorrow. We're going to go a little keto barbecue, Myron Mixon. So we're going to talk to Myron tomorrow. We'll run it on Thursday during our normal show, and then maybe we'll see some highlights. Maybe we'll clip or two out on YouTube beforehand, just a little sliver for our followers. But you guys hyped for that? It should be a good ass time.
Mouth's watering already.
I know, mine is too. I cannot wait. Like seriously, well, it's funny. So I am making ribs tomorrow for the occasion.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like you should smoke some ribs and have them ready to show them.
Chad, from scratch. It's his recipe and it's from scratch. Rubs from scratch, sauces from scratch. I have like 10 things sitting on my futon like out there. It's like, and you know what the best part is? If I just started telling you all the things that are going to get involved with this, it was like a quart of orange juice. Like, there's so many different random ass things in this recipe. I'm like so excited to try. I'm like, this is going to be the best ribs ever. Like, oh my god, he's the one that taught me how to cut the membrane off watching Barbecue Pitmasters, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, these ribs are falling off the bone. How about that? It's like he's a genius. He's the best at barbecue.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna be awesome. So we'll have Myron on this week. And we'll announce on all our social media outlets how you can tune in for all that. And to that point, follow us on social media, right? Spotify and iTunes, obviously, for all the audio episodes first. But from a social media standpoint, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, @_get_sidetracked. Well, I guess actually it's Instagram, Twitter, @_get_sidetracked. And then Twitter is the r/sidetrack. I'm getting into the Reddit thing, so I gotta adjust that graphic. And then make sure you check us out on our website too, www.get-sidetrack.com. And then obviously for all the video stuff, check us out on Twitch. Follow to the heart to the left, subscribe to the right. Free for Amazon Prime, which everyone's got Prime at this point. So like I always say that like if you don't have it, like everyone has. It's subscribe. It's good stuff. And then there's absolutely zero excuse to not subscribe on YouTube because we'll have all sorts of highlights for the interviews and some cool stuff from obviously our most recent podcasts and all sorts of good stuff there. That's free. And it's a shame if you missed out on the March Madness fun. That was one of the tickets to get in. And it's like I said, it's absolutely free. So unfortunately, the store is not free. But if you want to check out some cool gear and some swag on the Sidetrack store, feel free to check us out as well. Summer's coming around the corner. Maybe you're looking for some golf gear. Whatever it is, come by and check us out. We got all sorts of cool gear on the Sidetrack store as well. So, all right, boys, it was fun getting the whole family back together here. The chat was awesome tonight. Joe and Josh, always know I'm fan. Uncle Ricky, this is awesome tonight. And yeah, we're good. Yeah, like I said, I'm all hyped up, just like thinking about Myron and stuff this week. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, great week ahead.
I got us tequila too. I'm making margaritas for this Cabo Wabo.
Nice.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're going on in chat. Zach, I'm bummed. I wish you could see this. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I know. I can't wait to catch the highlights and watch it.
Dude, by the end of this, you're gonna buy a smoker.
I'm already getting hungry right now. So.
Oh baby, we're talking brisket. I want to take one of his classes 101. Like there's all sorts of cool stuff. So we'll break all that down. I could sit here and do a whole hour just like drooling about it. So we'll get out of here. let everyone get on with their Monday night. Well, thank everyone for checking us out tonight, checking in with the chat. We had a lot of fun with everyone. So like I said, we'll be back on the air on Thursday. Check us out on social media for all the announcements with upcoming guests and all that fun stuff. But we hope everyone has a great Monday, and we'll see everyone